I did talk about the founding fathers is, and I live in the state of South Dakota, right? And I grew up there.
Yeah.
And I see Mount Rushmore. The four founding fathers, one of them anyway.
Right. Yeah.
Jefferson, Washington, Lincoln, and what's the other one? Roosevelt,
Right.
modern day founding father.
Right.
Well, each of them we can name, we teach our children. It's like, okay, George Washington, he's the village burner. He ordered his army, Colonial Congress army, to go and kill every Indian that has a village up and along the Missouri or the Mohawk River, and in the state of New York in this area, any native. And you put a bounty out on them, and you give them, the males the bigger bounty, and if you get them, bring the skins here. And we go on and on and on. Jefferson also called hunt them down like the wolf. He excluded native people as he was writing and stealing the words from the Iroquois people. Teddy Roosevelt nationalized over 52 million acres to make national parks, and he took those away from reservations in the early part of the 1900s.
Something that belongs to the people, and Trump said that. This revolution is about you. You are what empowers it. You are the future, and we're going to get out of your way and let you have your destiny, have your dreams. And we understand America's special in that destiny, and that as America goes, the rest of the world goes. Washington envisioned all of this in his farewell address. He saw this in Providence, in a vision, and now it's all come true. The enemy knew that, so that's why they always invoke the occult. Don't talk about God or Christ, don't talk about Providence, don't say, America's great and all this stuff, to demoralize us not to have this birthright, this birthright, this birthright. This birthright.
Who's left? Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation the same day he signed this country's largest mass execution of 38 Dakota men for supposedly stealing a cow that wandered onto their given reservation boundaries. And then the Dakota said, "Oh, we're sorry, we didn't know, it didn't have a brand, and we thought it was on our own. We were hungry, we were starving at the time." So the native people gathered about 40 other skinny cattle as well, and gave it to the one farmer. That one farmer wanted justice. He says, "I want the man, I don't want the cows." So all of them said, "I am guilty." So the army came down, and that's when that sort of war came along. And in the end, over 500 were indicted. So Lincoln signed, well, let's only hang 38 of them. They all hung at the same time in Mankato, Minnesota.
They were shackled and chained together. They had hoods on them. The women began wailing and weeping. One of the prisoners in a loud voice said, "Namach umpo metakwepi, hear me, my people. Today is not a day of defeat. It is a day of victory. For we have made our peace with our Creator and now go to be with Him forever. Remember this day to tell our children so they can tell their children that we are people who die a noble death. Do not mourn for us. Rejoice with us. It's a good day to God." And then he lifted up his voice and began singing.
So these are, the ideas that people are holding up as, well, forget about what we did to the Indians or the native people. Let's hold what this freedom and caring for loving our fellow men is based upon.
This birthright.
But let's not talk about the tree roots people. Let's talk about what we can change as far as grassroots movements is concerned.
This birthright.
We're not concerned about having a graveyard still under the U.S. Capitol building with the Lenni Lapi bones, the graveyard still on that hill of where the U.S. Capitol building. Let's not talk about that.
Mm-hmm. This was a burial mound sacred to the Indians.
It's still there. It's proven. It's still there.
Mm-hmm.
So if people want proof, anything I say can be picked up in a book.
This birthright.
Because we're losing a lot of people because of the internet. And we have to do something. We have to go see Bill Gates and a lot of different people that really understand what's happening. We have to talk to them, maybe in certain areas, closing that internet up in some way. Somebody will say, oh, freedom of speech, freedom of speech. These are foolish people. We have a lot of foolish people. We have a lot of foolish people. We've got to maybe do something with the internet because they are recruiting by the thousands.
Mr. Neville, you and your people, you talk about reparations. The reparations that you talk about, Mr. Neville, your people already got your reparations. Your reparations came in the form of a man named Barack Obama.
Please hold your response.
My advice to you, if you don't like it here in America, planes leave every hour from Tampa Airport. Go back to Africa. Go back to Africa. Go back.
You think you live in a free country, when statistically, this is the most violent country on earth. More violent than the two other countries that come close, Scotland and Australia. And it's more than twice more violent than either one of those countries. That is a statistical fact. So I don't go for the facades, man. I don't go for the Orwellian reality. I have only two concerns in my life: racism and freedom. I want to see freedom for my people in my lifetime, somewhere in the Western Hemisphere, whether it's in the Northwest Territories of Canada or somewhere high in the Andes. My people are going to be free. And we're going to stop Denver from celebrating Columbus. And we're going to stop Denver from celebrating Indian killers. You know? We're going to stop the United States of America from naming dehumanizing names and employing and paying caricatures. Columbus has to die. After 500 years, kill him! Kill Columbus! His legacy still lives. Columbus has to die. You know, it's because of Columbus that we are primitives. Well, let me tell you, I am a born-again primitive, and I am proud. And I am a born-again primitive. His legacy, that we are not human beings. You know, it wasn't until 1898, less than a century ago, the Pope declared us to be human beings. 1898. And he's coming to Denver. I'm going to be here. And if the Pope, and if you all don't kill Columbus, I'm going to make sure the Pope kills Columbus when he gets here. And if he doesn't, he's going to remember his visit. And the world will remember his visit. Like how the Maoris greeted Queen Elizabeth 2 years ago. The world found out. I think you guys were kept in the dark, but the rest of the world found out how the Maoris felt about the Queen of England and Columbus. Imagine the only color of the human race, the red Indians of the Western Hemisphere, were the only color of the human race not allowed to participate in the international community. That's why Columbus has to die. No one talks about majority rule in the 5 countries where we are majority. Bolivia, Peru, Ecuador, Panama, Colombia, Canada. Ostensibly in Canada because 90% of the non-Indians live within 100 miles of the U.S. border. And guess who lives in the north? And we control it. Canada found that out last year. The Oka crisis that you were kept from. When the Canadian Armed Forces employed more soldiers to surround 50 men, women, and children, Indians, than they sent to Saudi Arabia in the Gulf War. That's how serious the indigenous threat to industrial America is. And the Orwellian reality that you are now a part of. It's unacceptable that the legacy of Columbus keeps my people from sitting at the table of the international family of nations when all the rest of the sacred colors of the human race are there. Black, brown, yellow, white. We're missing. In 1900, they estimated there were approximately 250,000 Indians left in the continental United States and Alaska. 99.9% of that 250,000 were traditional Indian people. Now, according to the U.S. Census, who defines us by blood quantum, only 2 other countries in the world do that. One is past, Nazi Germany and South Africa. They say there are approximately 2 million Indians left in America, and there are less than 400,000 on the Indian reservation. Of those 400,000, there's less than 30,000 that are traditional Indian people. So the genocide is almost complete. In 92 years, we've went from 250,000 to less than 30,000. It's unacceptable. That is the Columbus legacy. To celebrate the first transatlantic slave trader is beyond me. Where are the black people, my allies? I was on the Poor People's March, man. I've been there in Washington, D.C. with you all. Where are my black brothers and sisters on this question? Columbus was the first transatlantic slave trader. But it was us, man, it was us. And this country and this city has the gall to celebrate it. And everyone knows he was a half a world off course. I mean, that's buffoonery, man. You can't be more off course than a half of a world. How can you celebrate a clown like that, man? How can anybody be proud that he's a hero of questionable ancestry? Because the Portuguese, who employed him first as a slave trader up and down the West African coast, that alone, I should be marching with thousands of black brothers and sisters on Columbus Day. Where's our allies, man? Where's the Catholics? Huh? Where's the Mormons? Huh? Where's corporate America, whose land they're getting rich off of? Can't they say thank you? And say no more Columbus Day, no more Redskins, no more Braves, no more Indians riding a spotted pony around a football stadium dressed in my ancestral heritage? Stanford and Dartmouth, to name a few, along with University of Oklahoma, got rid of their names and their mascots. After I sued the Cleveland Indians baseball team for their racist, dehumanizing, derogatory symbol Chief Wahoo in 1971. You don't think that's an issue, Andy Rooney? Andy Rooney doesn't think that's an issue. The only time I have ever received hate mail was when I sued the Cleveland Indians baseball team for racism. I didn't even get hate mail from the leftists when I fought against the Sandinistas, man. But I got hate mail from the sports lovers of America. The ones that fill the stadiums, man. Now I know the 4 sacred colors that are primary. All colors are sacred. But in the Lakota way of life, we have 4 primary colors: black, red, yellow, and white. They represent the 4 quarters of the universe, the 4 winds, the 4 points, the 4 seasons, the 4 ages of the world, the 4 ages of the human being. Those colors represent medicine, health, well-being, spirituality. You mix those 4 colors together, black, red, yellow, and white, and you get the color brown, the color of our grandmother, the earth. I have respect. I have respect because I know that I wasn't born in sin. I'm not a born liar. You understand? My children are not born liars, and neither are you. You're not born in sin. I don't care what anybody tells you or what you believe. You're a good human being with feelings. And every damn one of us have feelings, man. And that's what makes us human beings and part of the family. You know? The hawks and the eagles don't integrate, but they have respect. The hawk flies lower and stirs up the world beneath it so the eagle can see a little bit better. The black widow spider has respect for daddy long legs, and they get along. The rattlesnake for the garter snake. The birch tree for the evergreen. And you go on and on throughout life and you find out that female-male balance. But you understand that we are no different than they are. And you understand that we're all born with feelings, man. The same feelings. The same pain. The same joy. So again, in the words of Chief Seattle, tribe follows tribe and nation follows nation. It's like the waves of the sea. It's the order of nature, and regret is useless. Your time of decay may be distant, but it will surely come. For even the white man's God who walked and talked with him as friend with friend could not escape our common destiny.